Hi everybody and welcome to my studio today. My name is Lonna Lamb. I am here to bring you an updated version of my tunnel wave because my first video just had so many glitches in it, and I do apologize so much for that. I am not sure what went wrong with that video, but it's really hard to watch the whole thing through without starts and stops and drags and lags, and I know it's got to be frustrating on your end. It was frustrating for me trying to get that video edited, and it just wasn't working out. So I just painted the whole design all over again for you. Back this up so you can see it. And so we are going to start this video all over again. I promise it will not be identical to the first video because I never paint the exact same way twice. I did use the exact same colors, but you know, it's going to come out slightly different every time. But I really love this particular painting. It's one of my favorites that I've done. So I appreciate you stopping back by to watch this one and watching it without the glitches. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you're notified every time I have a video coming out. Please like and share my videos and comment on my videos. It really helps me to be able to bring more videos to you. And I'm really trying to get that rhythm of bringing one every week. Life kind of gets in the way sometimes, so I'm working on that. But I appreciate every one of my subscribers, and I hope that you're going to enjoy this video. So let's turn around to my paint table and let's get started on it, everybody. Okay everybody, we're going to start on this painting again. My first one had some glitches in it, so I'm going to redo the video and the painting for you so you can have a much smoother video to watch and be able to understand what's going on. So my first one I painted on a 9x12 board, and if you're doing a 9x12 you want to come down 5 inches from the top and make your horizon line. The one that I did my video on, my previous video that is not doing too well, that this one will replace, I came down 4 inches from the top. This is an 8x10 size. So what we're painting on today is an 11x14 canvas panel, and the reason I'm going bigger is because I'm actually going to put this one in a frame. And this is just an Arteza canvas panel. I bought them on Amazon. Variety package, and I really like these canvas panels. I think they're some of the best ones I've painted on, so I highly recommend the Arteza brand. I don't get paid anything for saying that, but it's just my opinion. Every artist will have their own opinion. This is my opinion. Okay, so I've taken my canvas board and I have applied 2 coats of just some white paint. Now I have a couple of tubes of this paint that I bought like 10 years ago at a garage sale, and it's a great paint. I really like it. I'm sure you can't even buy tubes this big anymore. I don't know. But it's a good paint. I used a dampened sponge and applied 2 coats of this on here. I always lightly sand my canvases before I even start applying paint with a ultra-fine sanding pad of some kind. That just knocks down anything that raised up when they applied gesso to it, and then applying my white paint gets the canvas just perfect for what I like to paint on. It's more like a watercolor canvas now. So on this one we want to measure down. I'm going to measure down 6 inches. This is an 11x14 canvas panel, and I'm going to draw my line over here. Now we don't have to go all the way across because our wave is going to come in a little ways. We could probably come into 3 inches. Just to be on the safe side, I'll draw my line at 2.5 inches, and if my wave covers that up, not a problem. I just drew a very light line on there. Not very dark. We don't need it to be very dark because we'll see it through our paints. Okay, now we want to start adding some paint on here, and color, we're going to work on the sky and everything back in here first, in the mountain range in the sky. So we want to start with some yellow. Now I'm using DecoArt Traditions paints. It comes in a tube now, but I still have that in bottles. So we're going to use Hansa medium yellow. I'm going to use some burnt sienna. I probably will put some vermilion. I should probably go watch my other video, or try to, and see what colors I actually used in the sky. I have some Napthol Red and some Vermillion. So we're going to put these colors out on my palette. Now I'm using a different camera setup since my other one was having some glitches, so I won't have a separate palette camera. So I will try to always bring the palette into camera shot if I'm doing something specific like mixing or anything like that. So we're going to start putting some colors out. Okay, let's start on this painting now. So I've got my line. Well, actually, let me draw one more line in here real quick. I want to kind of begin to determine where my wave is going to be coming from. And it's going to be coming up and over. And kind of like that. So it's just trying to see if you can even see the line. I didn't draw it in very dark because I don't want it to I'm going to bring it a little bit narrower down here. It's just kind of a guideline here, so you know, nothing's set in stone. We can change it as we go. So we've got our sky there, so we're ready to go. So on my palette here, I have white, Hansa yellow medium, vermilion, Napthol red, raw sienna, and some carbon black. So we're going to start by, well, let me draw this in for you because it might help you visually a little bit. I'm going to, of course, it depends on if you can even see the lines. I'm going to create some distant stuff going on. And actually, this needs to be shorter here. We want our sun. Our sun is going to be like right in this area. So we want it to be lower here, a little bit lower. And then we can just create some stuff in the background back there. And we're going to start painting now. Where those, behind those hills. So we want to start by adding some white right in here. Now hopefully this video will be the same as my other video because it's been a little bit since I painted that one, so I'm hoping I can get it close. So I picked up, I have white on one side and the Hansa yellow medium on the other side. And I'm going to work that yellow out away from that white a little bit. We'll come back and brighten up the white as we build our layers in the background. A little bit more of the yellow. I'm going to, where's my spritzing bottle? I always spritz my palette with water. So when I need just a drop of water, it's right here on my palette. I can just grab a drop of water and use it in my paint to get it a little bit more easier to paint with, get it a little bit more. Alright, now as we move across the sky, we want to add a little bit of orange into our yellow here. So I'm going to dip into the orange and grab some more yellow. We don't want this to be super dark orange. Get some water. Not too much water, just a little bit. It needs to be just a tiny bit. Ooh, okay, or a lot. I think I did that with my first one too. I put way too much orange out there. And we're going to bring this across. We want it more light over here, so I'm going to wipe my brush off and just kind of blend that out. Grab a little bit more yellow in the mix there and bring it out to this side. Alright, a little bit more orange, I think. Work our way up. And when we get up to the very top, I'm backing off on the brush by just giving just a little bit of pressure through here. I had plenty of water in that paint, so it is picking up in my brush, so I'm just going to keep wiping it out so that I can blend these paints together right here where they meet. And then move on up and very gently blend that. And we're going to grab some raw sienna here now. And bring this up in here. We can add just a tiny little bit of black to that raw sienna. Get some water. A little bit too much water. And we're going to put this up here. Still not dark enough. Whew. Man, you want a little bit of black, but then you go crazy with the black. And this is going to go up here. We'll come and darken this later. I'll wipe my brush off, get as much moisture out of it as possible so I can very gently blend these. And I need this to get a little dry. I need to blend these out a little bit more. Picked up a little bit of the orange. It's very wet right there, so I need to let that dry. I'm going to wash my brush before I go back up and work on the sky again. I'm going to work a little bit in the water area, so I want to take my yellow with just a tiny bit of white, and we can start laying some of this color in for our water. And just to bring it all the way down. Our wave is going to start here and it's going to start curving around. And a little bit of that raw sienna over here. I'll put a little bit of this over here as well. It's kind of that raw sienna and orange and a little bit of black. We'll just bring it on across. We're going to work on our mountains and stuff, and then we will finish the sky out here. Not sure that's the way I did it in my other video, but since it's been a while since I painted this, that's the way we're going to do it this time. I'm very, very softly on the ends of the brushes, just blending that out right there. Let me get a little bit more mix here. Whew. Tiny bit of black. That's a lot more orange than I want. We need some variation in color in the water, so if you have to mix a little bit more and it's not quite the same color, out about it. It's going to be okay. Alright, I'm very, very lightly on the tips of the brush, smoothing that across there. Okay? Before I go into my mountains, I'm going to redo the sky. So we start with our white right here. Wipe my brush off. I'm going to grab some yellow. Just going to blend, very lightly blend that across that white. And then we can go into some of these oranges that we already have mixed here. A little bit more yellow. And we're just doing a second layer out here in the sky. Just kind of smoothing it out, making it look a little bit more blended. Wipe my brush off. I want to grab a little bit more of that orangey color and blend it. Okay, hopefully I kept you on camera for all that. I'm going to let the sky dry so we can add some clouds in there. So for our little mountain range thing back here, we want to stay with some of that raw sienna with a tiny little bit of black. And just make this dull raw sienna color. And we'll have to add a little bit more black in there. So let's take our raw sienna and our black, little teeny tiny bit of black. Oh, I was getting too much, now I can't get enough. I'm going to add a little bit of orange in there. Maybe just a little bit of white. Make it a little bit more opaque. I still want it to be a more darker color. And just shape your hills any way that you want. I need a touch more black in there. This needs to be a little darker. Going right along that water line there. Still feel like it needs more black. I'm going to look at my original one here in a second. See what it looks like. I don't think it was quite this dark, so I'm probably going to skim over this with some other colors. I didn't bring my skyline down far enough, so let me fix that with some yellow. I want to make sure our sky meets our hills, mountains, whatever they're going to be. So I think I'm going to take some orange, a little bit of black. I need to get that yellow out of my brush. It's going to be too bright. So orange, and a little bit of black. Some raw sienna. Ooh, or lots of black. And some white. A little more black in there. I want this dirty grayish orange color. I'm just going to tap that. Okay, that one was pretty wet, so I'm lifting paint there. And that one is still wet. Grab a little bit more black. Alright, I gotta get out of those hills. They're still pretty wet. So I can't make those darker yet because I'm just lifting the paint. So I'm gonna leave those for just a minute. I need to tone them down, make them a little bit blend into the sky a little bit more. Let's work on our sky here, and I think I want this side to be just a little bit more orangey over here. I just picked up some orange and I'm letting it blend, mix with that paint that's there on my palette. Alright, I'm going to tip into some red here, and we'll start creating some cloud stuff going through here. You know, things as they get closer to the horizon will be lighter. And I don't really want that there. Grab some yellow. Pull that out. Alright, back to my little bit of red here. And our water's going to be coming over this, so some of this is going to get covered up. So and we got some other colors to add to the clouds too. So and that's probably enough clouds through there, I think. Like I said, the water's going to come over across all of that. I'm going to take a little bit of white on my brush. I'm not going to clean it. It's going to make like this pinkish color, and oh, maybe it's going to make pink. Put some orange in there with it and see if that will show up. Still need to be a little lighter. And I'm just going to tap this onto the tops of the clouds. I never paint my clouds the same 2 times in a row. Crazy. Okay, just give a little highlight to those clouds. Then I want to put a little bit of a dirty red color underneath on the bottom. So that's red, a little bit of raw sienna. I'm pretty sure I did not do my clouds this way last time, but if you can sit and watch through that shaky one that I recorded, I'm not really sure what was going on with that, why it ended up that way, but you can certainly try and watch that one. My clouds, I know I did completely different on that one. And then a little bit of white and yellow. I especially want some of these to be getting from the sun here. be less and less as it goes across there. That kind of gives you an idea of how the sky is done. So I really want to, I just picked up the mix that I did with the yellow and red, and oh, that's really lifting right there. Alright, I gotta take a minute and get this dry. Okay, I got it dry, so let me see what I can do here. I'm gonna grab some raw sienna, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white, a little bit of orange. Just a crazy wild mix here. Alright, let me get a tiny little bit of black in there. Put it in here. And I'm just going to gently kind of blend that across there. I still want those lighter, so I am going to let them dry, and then I'm going to wash over them with another color. I'm going to grab some yellow here, clean up back here. We're going to put another line here in front of these hills. Okay, I want to draw another line in front of this one. Come down just a little bit, maybe a 1/4 of an inch, a little less. Okay. I think I'm okay with my heels. I put a wash over them, a mix of raw sienna and a little bit of white, and had a tiny little bit of black in it to kind of, they were just like in your face. So I'm hoping that they settle down here. I think I'm going to have to put some orange on them. They're still really wet, but I want to move on to doing these hills and let that dry. So I'm going to grab a round brush here. And on this row here, we're going to take some black, and I'll mix a little bit of raw sienna with it. So it's not pure black. It's almost a gray black, mixing that raw sienna. And then we're going to put these this row of smaller hills stuff in front on this line. And some of them will be raised up a little bit and some of them will not. So I'm just going to go right along this line and I want to add a little bit more in there. Just give a little couple of bumps there. And as I get over here, I want this really big one. Really big bump out right there. Try and stay on that line if you can. And that was just with that kind of dirty gray mix. Okay. And then we want these to be reflected down here in the water. So we're going to come along beside it. I'm going to add some more raw sienna into this and make it lighter. So we're going to follow our shape here. Come back to the line. Back to the line. And it's pretty thin right through here. We'll bump out there. We'll bump out there. So all I did was take that black and raw sienna and add more raw sienna to the mix to get this lighter color. Make our reflections in the water here. So hopefully we can tell the difference between the two. I'm going to put another coat on the one up above, and then I'll see how the one below looks. We may want to do a second coat down here as well. So we've got our hill things, and then we have our reflections down here. Okay, so let me darken this up back here. I'm going to take a little bit of orange and raw sienna and tie a little bit of this black mix. And right back here, we'll darken this up a little bit. We'll have our bright highlight coming across there. But this area back here, we want it to be not the bright yellow like it's coming through there. And let me see how this is going to wash onto the hills here. Okay. Alright, I do want to do another coat of that dark on there. So that was black and raw sienna. These are pretty dark. And then we'll go ahead and add some more raw sienna in here. Get it slightly lighter and a lot more lighter than that. Just keep adding raw sienna to the mix until it's a lighter color. Just a little lighter because this is reflected down here in the water. Okay, that's looking pretty good. When we come in and start adding highlights and stuff, we can create the highlight that separates all of that. Straighten this line out right here. It's a little bit wobbly. I think that's looking pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, I've mixed my vermilion, raw sienna, and a little bit of black. I need this to be more orange down through here. Kind of match the sky. And then I'm going to streak some of this into our hill areas. Not really sure what colors I used in my original hills. That's what I get for not writing better notes, right? That's just that black and raw sienna mix that I just grabbed a little bit of that and let it blend with that orange and raw sienna and black mix. So basically I took this color down here and added some orange to it, some vermilion. And then I'm just putting a little bit up here in the mountains. I'm not overly happy with how that little mountain range looks, so I'm hoping when we get a little bit more done in the water that it pushes back. I think I'm going to have to highlight and define them a little bit more. Since this is a bigger painting, I think they're going to have a little bit more detail on them. Okay. Okay, I want to take my yellow, got way too much water in my brush here. My yellow and a little bit of white. I want to bring this yellow into the water area, or into the wave area. So I'm going to just pull that down. That's the Hansa yellow medium, just a tiny bit of white in there, and just kind of let it go out. Go back up through here and put a little bit back through here. Grab a little bit of water. So I can kind of blend that yellow over into that darker color. Now I want to get a little tiny bit of orange, or a lot of orange, because I want to bring some of that orange that's in the sky into our water. It's kind of an orangey red, so I probably better get some red in there with my yellow, because I don't want it to be bright and in your face. But we can start adding some of this in here. There'll be a lot of colors going on in the water right in this area. The rest of it's going to be darker and stuff out through the outer edges. But it's just a back and forth motion, just using the tips of the bristle. Have a little bit of water in your brush, because that will give your bristles a little bit more of a chisel edge to get a nice, a little bit sharper. And then we'll bring some of this down into our yellow. And we'll be brightening all this up. This is just getting us to know where we're going. And we're going this direction, so don't come straight across. Alright, we're getting a good start there. Let me wide angle out a little bit because I can't get my canvas shoved up far enough. Okay, I'm going to grab a little tiny bit of raw sienna on my brush because we need a little bit of that, more of that golden. I'm going to do raw sienna and yellow mixed together so it's not quite such a stark raw sienna. And that's not quite dry, so I probably shouldn't have done that. Not quite dry. So I'm going to bring some raw sienna out here a little bit, just past that orange. Like I said, we got more layers going on. And then we need it out here in the water. Up on the chisel edge of the brush. You need a little bit of water in with your paint so you can just create those lines going across. This is just raw sienna. I don't have a whole lot of paint on my brush, so don't get too carried away. I need to add some of this from this side. I'm going to come from that water line over. More water, a little bit more paint so that I can get some of these nice chiselly lines on here. We can come across our bright yellow. We need to break that up. We don't want it to be solid in there, so don't be afraid to break it up. I'm going to take some of this, maybe add a tiny bit of yellow to it, and put some across our reflection here. It's raw sienna with just a little bit of yellow. So we're starting to create that little bit of a reflection. I'm going to go over the reflection stuff just a scooch. And a few more little chisel lines in here of this raw sienna. Let's see if this is, see if it's dry enough. This is going to be raw sienna and yellow mixed together. I want this a little bit more golden right through here. It's still a little wet. Okay, I think that's all we're going to do for that color right now. We're ready to move on to some blue colors now. Alright, let's get back to this project. It's been a few days since I've worked on this, so I'm not really exactly sure where I left off. I hope we're in the same spot. I did wash a little bit of a blue-black mix with the Colbalt Blue Hue and black mixed kind of back in here, but very, very, very lightly because I really want that to be more orangey. So we're going to come back with some oranges here and put some of that on there. So I've got a little bit of orange, the Vermillion, and the raw sienna. And I'm just gonna, that's not gonna be dark enough. Let's get a little bit more red and orange in here. Tap my brush off. I don't want to be putting a lot on here, and I'm just gonna streak some of this back in here. Okay. Alright, so I want to darken in my water area, so I'm going to go into some raw sienna and a little bit of black and start creating some of this darker. I'm going to mix a lot more here so I can get a little bit more on my brush. Add just a little bit of orange to it. I know I'm not doing this exactly the same way that I did my previous video that does not want to cooperate, but the effect will be the same. So I'm going to come down this edge and pull across. I need a little bit more black in there. This will be darker right through here. Wipe my brush off, I've got a lot of paint on it, and then just pull it across. Very lightly, very lightly. And then we want to put some of this on this edge as well. Just darken this up a little bit, just to get things started here. This is the Vermillion, raw Sienna, and a little bit of black. Mix up a little bit more. And I'm just going to bring it in from the edges just a little bit here. And then streak it across. I'll wash my brush out here, and I want to get a little bit of red and orange. That's Napthol Red and the Vermillion. Wipe my brush off because I'm going to put a little bit darker through here of the red. A little bit of yellow and some white here. This is all going to end up being darker. We're just going to kind of build towards it. I got my yellow mix here. I'm going to add a little bit of this raw sienna and orange mix to it just to slightly darken it. Okay, let's grab some of our orange. Yeah, I think I'll add a little bit of yellow to it. And we want to start putting some of this through here. And just making some strokes in there. I definitely want this one area to be more golden right through here. So mix a little bit more orange, red, yellow. I just have it loaded on one edge of my brush here. And we'll come back and add more as we go here. I want to start working on some blues in here. So wash my brush out. I'm going to go into, so our blues that I have here, see that's black. This is Ultramarine, Phthalo Blue, Colbalt Blue Hue, Cerulean Blue. This one's Cerulean Blue, and that's Aquamarine. Aquamarine, Cerulean Blue, Colbalt Blue Hue, Phthalo Blue, Ultramarine. That's black. So I've got all my colors on my palette now. So I want to take some of this Colbalt Blue Hue and thin it down a little bit. and add some, oh, not that one. I want to add the cobalt to it and make this little wash of color. It's going to make this really pretty blue color. And we want to wash this color in up here in this corner. You can bring it all the way over to the corner if you want. We'll be darkening over here, so it doesn't really matter. But we do want plenty of it over here. I need a little bit more moisture in my brush so I can blend these together a little bit better. Okay, and now I'm going to go into a little bit of the Colbalt Blue Hue and a little bit of the Cerulean Blue. Mix them a little bit on the corner of my brush, tap my paper towel, and then I'm going to skim this color through my paint here. We'll be coming back in and washing over this more. Mix more as you need it, but it's going across at an angle here. And just a few out here, not much. Okay, just the beginnings of creating some of our color. So we're going to take some of this cobalt and start adding some of it down here. I'm going to stay out of my yellow just a little bit for now because I don't want it to turn green, although we will need some green values in here. Wipe my brush off. Wipe it off some more. I just want to fade that out right there. I don't want to be hard lines right yet. Alright, let's go into some of our mix that we put up here, and we're going to start putting in some strokes through here. It's Colbalt Blue Hue and Cerulean Blue. You can see we're not filling in, we're just creating streaks because we're going to have layers of color in here. This is just kind of getting some placement here. And this is all going to be pretty dark out through here. So we can just start laying in just a little bit more color through this area. And so we're starting our wave effect here. Okay, so this is where you'll kind of want to look a little bit more at the placement in the photograph, if you can see that pretty well, to see how we're going to start laying in more colors. So we're going to lay in a little bit more of our darker value blues now. So we're going to go into some, that's ultramarine, no, that one's ultramarine, this one's phthalo. And I want to add a little bit of black to it. So let's do some phthalo and some black. Let's get this really dark, rich blue color here. start building our layers on here. I want a little bit more of this dark stuff through here, and we will darken this. This will get darker, but we want to begin trying to just picture where some darker values are going to be in here. And this all kind of works its way across here because this wave is going up this direction and then kind of falling down this way. So we have a little bit of going up and then coming down kind of thing there. But it will all kind of blend together so you don't notice a line there when we get things built up here. And we'll bring some of this darker stuff down through here. Phthalo Blue with some black. You can add a little bit of ultramarine in there. Don't get too much black in it at first because we'll be darkening this up. And this is going to be pretty dark down through here. Phthalo Blue with a black. I always touch my paper towel before I go paint. Need some of this over here. We're beginning some darker stuff there, and we're going to work that over a little bit. Okay, we're getting some good stuff going on here. I'm going to put a little bit of this darker stuff up through here. Go to a different brush here. I have to go to an angle brush here in a minute. Get a little bit better chisel edge on our stuff. Okay, I'm going to go into just the Cobalt. No, this is Cerulean Blue. Cerulean Blue. And put a little bit of this in here. Might add a little bit of aquamarine into that. So let's just brush mix the aquamarine and the cerulean. And we'll start laying in a little bit of brighter. Picked up just straight aquamarine that time. A little bit more darker up through here. And then this stuff. I want to start creating the movement here where it's going around. This is kind of going up, and this is going around. I'm going to go into some red here, and maybe mix just a little bit of orange with it, because this needs to be brighter right through here. Through here. A little bit of this that's left on the brush out here. And we can put a little bit of this color up through here. Start adding in some reflections of sun inside the wave. Grab more yellow here. Mix it with what's on my brush. We want a little bit of this yellowy orange mix kind of coming across. We don't want such a straight line going through here. So we're going to blend that out a little bit. Out through here. Just lightly skimming the brush, carrying some of that color out. A lot of this is going to be dark here and here. Just lightly, kind of tickling it through there. Okay, we can put some straight orange up in here. Now we're going to be layering on top of this, so we'll cover some of this up and we can come back and put it back in, but it's just kind of giving us placement of some highlight in here. Let's start getting some darker blues in here. So we want to go into our okay, I want to mix a little bit of green here, so I'm going to go into my Cobalt Blue Hue, I think, and yellow, and add some Aquamarine. Get this pretty bright green in here. A tiny bit of white, a little more yellow. Just keep adding some colors till you have a green that you kind of like, which is yellows and blues. And we're going to put this through here. I think I wanted a little bit more on the aqua green side, so I'm going to add a little bit more of that aqua. Through here. Alright, I'm going to start adding some darker colors in here. So I'm going to go into my Phthlo Blue and work that into my brush here. I've still got that green on there, so I'm just going to mix it with that green on there. And that makes a really pretty aqua green. Okay, I'm going to, which one is this one? This one is Phthlo Blue. I'm going to start working some of this up into the water out here, just very lightly, skimming it across. We can put just a little bit of this over here. Grab a little dot of water. Okay, that's kind of a greenish color in there, but not to worry. We're going with some other layers in here. Okay, so we want to create some more darker colors, but before I do that, I want to wash in up here in this corner again. Let me clean my brush out of that green really good. I feel like it has a little green in it. Okay, we want to go into this Cerulean Blue. No, this one's Aquamarine, sorry. Aquamarine. I'm going to create a washy color of it. Tap my paper towel. And we're going to wash this in up here. I'm going to wipe some of that off. That's a little bit more paint than I want. I want it to remain transparent, but I want a little bit more of an aqua color now. The first layer was our under. I'm going to put some of this through here. We still want it to remain pretty transparent, so don't get too carried away with it. And then I'll go into some dark blue here. Maybe a little bit of this is Phthalo Blue. And we'll darken up some of this stuff out here. Add a tiny little bit of black to that. Just kind of tap it in and let it skim across and kind of do some fun little dancing out in there. We're not filling that in, so don't fill that corner in. That's where the majority of the light is coming through the water. Alright, I'm going to take some black and some ultramarine, Phthalo Blue. Mix those together. I'm going to start getting some darker blues in here. The canvas is bent right there in the corner. It kind of bugs me. And we'll start dancing some of this across here. Creating some really dark areas in here. I went back to my 3/4 inch flat because I wasn't getting the effect I wanted with my other one. So again, you use whatever brush works best for you. We need some darks through here now. So I'm kind of tapping it in and then just kind of bouncing and skimming, working up to that corner. This corner up here is really dark. Pretty dark down here, and we have some dark areas right through here. And now we'll start creating a few more dark areas here. Phthalo and a little bit of black. And this is going to be darker through here. Tap and a skim and a bounce, and try not to make anything too exact. And it's definitely going to be darker on the outer edges. Out here. We want to start kind of creating that dark edge out here. Some of this darkness is going to come in through here. There's going to be several dark places, like right up against where the water splash is coming. This is super dark out here. little bit more. It's Phthalo and black. This, of course, will be dark down here. I'm trying to keep my hand out of the wet paint. It's a little bit harder doing a larger canvas like this on camera. Alright, let's put some of this out here. Let me mix some more. A little bit of water in there. Sorry, I'm trying to get my original canvas up here so I can see it better. Or not. So this is all kind of dark down through here. Although once it's in the frame, I probably won't see a whole lot of this. Now it's turning a green color because I have that other color underneath it, but that's okay because we will be layering more paint in there. Come out this edge. Make it a little bit darker. I'm going to wipe my brush off, but grab a little bit of water. Some of that was still wet underneath there. And this is all going to start getting darker through here. Bring some of it down into our orangey colors. Okay. Starting to take shape. Starting to take some nice shape in there. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush. In my original one, I put this like reddish, orangish, peachy color, so I must have added a little bit of white in there. But not green. We don't want green. Get some white paint that doesn't have green in it. Grab my red, some orange, a little more red, maybe just a touch of yellow, more red, just a tiny bit of white, I think. And we're going to put this color through here. Again, darkening this just a little bit. I want that to stay light there. And then we'll have some of this through here. Okay. You're just using light little strokes out here, and if it doesn't blend very well, if it leaves texture, take the other end where you don't have paint and just very gently smooth it out and help it to blend a little bit. I just tend to take whatever's left on my brush and kind of move it around, and so I can carry the color around. I want this area to be way more bright than it is, and I'm not sure I'm going to get that super brightness in there because I've got that darker color underneath. I'm going to take some yellow. Just straight yellow. Right through here. And right through here. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of orange and create a little bit of an orangey color through here. I want to work on getting this area mostly filled in with color so that I can finish working the blues. So this is just way darker than what I want it to be. So I'm going to take yellow or white and a little bit of yellow and try to lighten this up. I want this to be lighter through here, more white. I want it to be a lighter yellow, so if I'm going to put this color in here and then come back and when it dries put some bright yellow on it. I'll go into some orange here and work some orange this direction. You can skim some of this across. Just a little bit. That's a little bit more than what I want, so I'm going to take a damp brush and tap and remove that because I really want this to stay more bright yellow, so I'm going to have to add some lighter colors through here. So that I can come back with my yellow and brighten that up a little bit. Okay, more blues. Get that yellow out of my brush. Okay, this area up here, I still want it to be darker. So I'm going to take the aquamarine and the cobalt and mix them together. And a lot of water. We're just making a wash of this color. And we're going to work this in through here, in this lighter area. Not much paint mixed in with that water. Remember, when you're making a wash, you're literally just tinting water, so you don't want to get too carried away. I'm gonna smooth that out. I got a lot of brush strokes in there. Okay, so that's looking much better up there. I mean, you could go even a little bit darker. We'll let it dry and see if we want to go a little bit darker. Okay, I want to put some more of the aqua in here, but I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to it. See if I can get a little bit more of a brighter teal green in here. A little bit more yellow. This is just a layering of paints here. Let's get some of this out here. I don't got much on my brush. I'm just letting it kind of, whatever's left, skim in there and do its thing. I want it going that direction. Keep it straight across, don't let it go downhill. Just use what's up in your brush, but you're giving extremely light pressure on the brush. It's just skimming it across. Don't ever give it hard pressure and force a lot of paint in one area. We got to keep it soft. Okay? Alright, let's create some more of our darker value in here. Let's see if I can create I have a really pretty aqua in my original one. I'm not really sure what colors I mixed to get that. I'm not getting quite the same color. It's a problem when you just mix paint as you go. It's really hard to get that main color. Alright, I'm going to load with just the Aquamarine now and put some of this in and come back in with some darker colors. Aquamarine only. And let's see if I add a little bit of white to that, if I get a brighter. Be a good start to a highlight color here. So I just took some Aquamarine and added a little bit of white to it. This will be a good color for up in here, because it's a much lighter, more transparent color, so we can just kind of hit and miss, tap a little bit of that up through there. And we need a little bit down here so we can start creating a little bit of a highlight. And then take just a little bit of it out to the water. Don't want that. This one's not quite straight, so I'll try and straighten it, and then I don't want those bold marks right there. Okay, that's getting some really pretty colors in there, but we want to get much darker. So I'm going to use Ultramarine, a little bit of Phthalo, and some black. Get that water spot off of there. And we're going to start creating some of our really dark colors in here. Okay, now we're getting this really darker color value through here. And it's really pretty dark down here in this corner as well. Coming across the bottom here, it's darker. And of course it's dark out through here. Bring some of that darkness across. And then I'll just skim it out here A little bit of water in my brush. Need more water, that's for sure. Let's put just a few darker ones down in there. Okay, let me get some more of my Colbalt Blue Hue out. It's the one I'm using the most of in my mixes. Got some darker stuff going up through here. Just a little bit. Don't go too far with it. And we need some more dark stuff through here. I think we're going to be just about ready to add some highlights in here. And I guarantee this one is not going to look exactly like any of my other ones, but I'm still really liking the color that's working out here. Let me get all the paint out of my brush if I can, so I can just have some water. Just want to soften that on that edge, that bluish green stuff that I just put in there. Okay. That's looking really nice. Let's go down here and see if I can brighten up my yellows. Get some fresh yellow out. And take my yellow and see if I can brighten this. A little tiny bit of white needs to be in there, I think. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Just a little tiny white mixed in there. Let's take just a little bit more white and we can start creating a little bit of a highlight through here. I'm not going to get too structured with that yet because I want to come in and add some other stuff in here. I'm going to get a little bit of some type of green mix on my brush and work that in just a little bit. Right through here. This is that yellow and white mix, and I just picked up a little bit of that green mix that we used earlier. So play around with your colors on your palette, and don't be structured about it. This is a very loose type of painting. You want to stay more loose with it. Okay, I want to take a small brush. Grab some kind of detail line in here. As soon as I find one. And we're going to thin some of our paints down here. So some of our red that we mixed together. Much smaller brush here. It's not small enough. Okay, we're just going to make some squiggly lines going through our water here. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. Keep you on camera shot here. Just a little kind of squiggle and wiggle. And this is just the red, that red mix, which had red and white and orange in it, I think. Okay, I want to add a little bit more orange to that, if I can. And maybe a little bit of the raw sienna. Make this dirty orangey red color. And we'll put some of these in here. Very lightly on your brush. Don't let these take over. Bring some out into that highlight area. Okay, we're also going to do some with, looks like I used orange and raw sienna mixed together. For a dirty orange color, which is almost the exact same color that I just used. Put a little bit of blue in there. Just pick a blue, and yep, that didn't make any difference. Okay, so we're going to go into one of our blues, and I'm going to go into the Cobalt. No, yeah. Nope, I'm in the, what color am I in? This is Phthalo Blue. And very loosely, try not to let this take over, just to give a little wiggle and jiggle, and keep them thin and watery, and don't let them get out of control here. Some of them a little bit bigger. Some coming from the side. It's going to just kind of connect all this. This is inky consistency paint, so that means you add water to your paint, get it a nice flowing consistency. Okay, I want to add a little bit more of that yellowy orange color. Here. And this area right here definitely needs to be brighter. So I'm going to create a wash of that just straight yellow. And see if I can just wash a little bit of yellow in that area. A little bit brighter. Okay, let me wide angle back out because that will help a lot in seeing the area there. Okay. Okay, it's looking pretty good. I'm really liking the color, the way the colors are blending on this one. I think it looks great. So we want to start adding some more of our oranges and reds back out in here, and then we're going to start adding some highlights in here and work on finishing this up. So we're going to take our orange. I'm just going to go straight into some orange and mix just a little bit of red with it. And we're just going to put some of this color out and about. This is some of that glow from the sun, you know, from all of that. And you just get to be the person who is in charge of where you want to place your colors. We want to carry it around just a little bit. And I think I want a little bit more through here. I'm going to grab some yellow. I'm not even going to wash my brush. I'm just going to grab some yellow. And we'll put a little bit lighter orange. I don't think I did this color in my other one. But I want to start a little bit of a highlight here. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay, I'm going to take let me put some more of it out, my Aquamarine and some white, and start creating a highlight with that color. So I'll just grab some Aquamarine and some white. And just make this pretty pale blue. And start creating a little bit of a highlight with this color, and I want to start bringing this out to start creating some of our splash. I'm just tapping it in there, and then going on the very corner of the brush and bringing it out where I want some, more of the splash to come out. This is aquamarine and white. And this is how we're going to start deciding where and how big we want our splashes to be. And as we get down here, the water's going to be coming off quite a bit more, so we want a little bit bigger splash down here at the end. And then I'll tap some of this up through here. Just start creating a little bit of splash highlights back throughout the wave. And these places I will probably add my highlight onto. So now we're beginning a highlight here. So I'm going to go into some white. I'm not going to clean my brush. I'm just going to lighten that blue just a little bit. Blend that in on my brush, and we'll start adding some of this. You don't want to cover up all of your color that you put in to begin with. Streak some of this, kind of splash it. When I say splash it, I'm kind of tapping and blurring it out. I'm not letting it form a perfect line. It's getting blurred out by tapping it and barely skimming at the same time. A little bit more. I think I'm going to get some more white out here. Because my white has red and green in it, and I certainly don't want those colors in my splash. Not my bright splash. Be very loose with this, don't. And then we'll put some of this out throughout the wave. Alright, I want to put some of it down here because we'll have some light bouncing over here. And we'll put some of it out here. Start creating our highlights out here in the water. Some of it will bounce over here, not a whole lot, but you can put a little bit out. Okay, it's starting to look a lot like a wave now. Okay, let's go into some straight white. So I'm going to get some fresh white out here. Okay. Try to keep this where it's on camera shot. Move some of these forwards when I'm leaning my canvas on here. And we're going to go to white. Ooh. And not yellow. We don't want yellow. What's going on here? Get the moisture out of my brush. I want just white. And some white here to work it on my brush, so my palette's getting full. And if you have like a stippling brush that you would rather use, you can certainly use that. And I really want to apologize for the other video. I just was having some issues with my equipment, and I'm sorry it didn't come out the best. White. Put some of this white out through here. Start putting some highlights down here. Getting our super bright highlight out through here now. Right through the middle is going to be the brightest, right through here. And I'm just going to dot a few little dots in there, put a few of them out here like little sparkles from the sun. And then we're going to work our way out into the water. Be a little bit brighter, wider highlights down here, and we'll get narrow as we go up. And I want to put some little sparkles in the water. I'm just putting some little dabs. I'll bring a little bit of highlight out here, not too much. so we got to bring our bright highlight here, and then I'm going to add one more layer of white there. So we've got this really bright white here. So what I want to do is take a little scruffy type brush. It can be an old brush. It can really be any kind of brush that you can use in a scruffy type way. I've got a little dome brush here, and I'm going to grab a little tiny bit of yellow. Remove some of that off of there. And grab some white. I just want this super crazy pale yellow to start with. And we're going to start kind of tapping around our sunlight and bringing it down across the water. I'm going to get a little bit more yellow. I want that to be a brighter yellow. Wipe a little bit of that off. Bring it out across. And then we're going to grab some white. And begin a highlight through here. I want to remove the paint off of my brush without washing it, because I don't want all that water in there. So I'm just going to remove as much of that yellow paint as I can out of this brush. And grab some white. It's still got a tiny bit of yellow in it. And tap that coming down across. You want it super bright white right here. And then just kind of bring it down, bring it across, and all the way through there. Tap a little bit out through here to give a little bit of softness, a little bit of highlight, kind of bouncing through here. And then I'm just going to keep this brush and tap a little bit up there for our wave. Still got a little bit of yellow in it, but I think it'll work. It's going to give me a little bit more finer splash coming out. I'm just barely tapping into this. And I'll just give a few of these a little bit more, maybe not all of them. Few, you know, little bits of water that maybe are coming way out here. You are the creator of your painting, so if you feel like it needs more splash here or there, you just add it in. Feel like it needs anything darker anywhere, go for it. Alright, I think we are looking pretty good here. A little bit more right through here. I want that really bright. And I think we're looking good. want to make sure I'm done, because once I wash this brush out, I don't want to have to try and use it again. Now on some of these splashed out waves here, you can put a little wash of glow of color, like some yellow or some orange in through here to reflect on the splash itself. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. A couple more little tippy taps through here. And I think we're good. It'll be really bright right through there. Okay, I think that's going to finish this one up. I think it looks great. You can go and tone down anything that you think is too bright, but you definitely want to have it darker out here on this edge, darker down here, darker over here, and then work your colors up. Now on my original one, I made the water more a brownish color, which I like that as well, but I think I like this green blue a little bit better. So I think it comes into the wave a little bit smoother and creates a better transition. So, you know, either way you go, it's going to be gorgeous. So I do apologize for the other video and it not working well, and I hope that you have learned a little bit from this one. Again, I do not paint exactly the same 2 times in a row. So here's the one I painted today. Here is the original one that I painted. Here is the video that messed up. So let's compare here just a little bit. And they're all pretty close. Pretty close. So there you go. I think I have a little bit more greens in this one, maybe. So you can come in and add some more darker blues through there if you like, but I think I'm pretty happy with it. I like it. I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to call this one a done video. So if you have not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share my videos. Every bit of it helps for me to be able to bring you more videos. Life gets in the way sometimes, so I'm sorry this one took so long to recreate for you, but I hope that you have enjoyed it. Leave me any feedback that you need to. I appreciate every one of you. Thanks for painting with me, everybody. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.